Chapter 4 The Invisible Man. I crossed Great Russell Street and went some way along Montague Street before I realized what I was running towards. There was a huge crowd of people coming up the street. They were chanting to the beat of loud music. I could not think of going through the sea of humanity without causing panic among the people and exposing myself. People could feel me, even if they did not see me. Crowds were dangerous, and I couldn't slip through them. Deciding on the spur of the moment, I ran up the white steps of a house facing the museum and stood there until the crowd should have passed. On came the band singing, and it seemed an interminable time to me before the tide of crowd washed along the pavement by me. Thud, thud, thud came the drum, and I did not notice two urchins stopping at the railings by me. "See them," said one. "See what?" said the other. "Why, these footmarks, bare, like what you make in mud." I looked down and saw the youngsters had stopped and were gaping at the muddy footmarks I had left behind me up the newly painted steps. The people passing by elbowed and jostled them, but their confounded intelligence was arrested. "There's a barefoot man gone up the steps," said one. "And he hasn't come down again." "And his foot was bleeding," said the other. The thick of the crowd had already passed. "Look there, Teddy," said the younger of the detectives, with the sharpness of surprise in his voice, and pointed straight at my feet. I looked down and saw at once the dim suggestion of their outline sketched in splashes of mud. For a moment, I was paralyzed. "Why, that's remarkable," said the elder. "Really astonishing. It's like the foot of a ghost, isn't it?" He hesitated and moved towards me with a hand outstretched. A passerby stopped to see what the boy was catching, and then a girl. In another moment, he would have touched me. Then I decided what to do. I took a step. The boy was startled, and he stepped back with an exclamation. With a rapid movement, I swung myself into the portico of the neighboring house. But the smaller boy was sharp-eyed enough to follow the movement. Before I was well down the steps and upon the pavement, he had recovered from the astonishment and was shouting out that the feet had gone over the wall. They rushed round and saw my footmarks appear on the lower step and pavement. "What's up?" someone asked. "Feet! Look! Feet running!" Some people started chasing me, following my footmarks. Others were surprised. I almost bowled over a young fellow and rushed headlong with 6 or 7 astonished people following my footmarks. There was no time for explanation, or else the whole crowd would have been after me. Twice I went round the corner, and thrice I crossed the road and came back upon my tracks. And then, as my feet grew hot and dry, the wet impressions of my feet began to fade. At last, I had a breathing space. I rubbed my feet clean with my hands and got away from the crowd. The last I saw of the chase was a little group of a dozen people, perhaps studying with infinite puzzlement a slowly drying footprint that had been formed from a puddle in the street.